would think if you're running the Department of Education, you'd know something about education. But nope, not under this administration. Linda McMahon, who's the Secretary of Education, went on Fox News to talk about how she's gutting the Department of Education. She got asked one simple question, and here's her answer.
Congress appropriates the money that is going through Title I to IDEA programs.
What's that stand for?
Do you know what? I'm not sure I can tell you exactly what it stands for, except that it's the Programs for Disabled and Needs.
Individuals with Disabilities Act, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't know all my acronyms. I've been here for 30 years.
This is my fifth day on the job, and I'm really trying to learn them very quickly.
Right, it's a lot.
I don't know what it means. I've only been here 5 days. Come on, give me a break. I just got here. I'm running the place, but I don't know what it means. Oh, what is going on here? You know, she's not going to learn anything about the Department of Education because her whole job is to just tear it down.
This issue is not going to go away because it's very contentious. But when you cut in any organization, government or private, it's very demoralizing. It's traumatic, and it gets lots of bad press, as we're doing right now. But that's why you cut 20% more. I think Elon's not cutting enough. Cut 20% more now. Get your spreadsheet out. These are the names. Whack everybody, and then 20% more, as we do in the private sector every day and have done for 100 years in private equity, and hire back when the organization gels. That way, the demoralization only happens once. You don't want to cut multiple times. More whacking.
There he is, mega-rich investor Kevin O'Leary saying the solution is to just whack it all. It's like a private company. Just get rid of 20%, and then we'll deal with it later. Don't worry about who they are, what they are, if we need them. We don't. Just get rid of them. Because that's his solution. That's the solution of MAGA for the Department of Education. But does he know what he's talking about?
Can I explain to you that this is when running...
You don't need to explain it to me. I know how it works.
But no, you don't. Because
Actually, I do. I've done it multiple times.
But that's in the private sector. And you cannot run...
This is worse than the private sector.
You cannot run everyday government the same way you run the...
Fat, dripping with waste government?
I'm not talking about fat, dripping with waste government.
What do we have?
I told you in the South, right now, in red states, do you know the number one cause...
What does this have to do with red or blue?
Can I finish my question? Do you know the number one cause for children underperforming in schools right now?
Bad educators.
They're
hungry. As a
no. Let me finish.
You're talking to the wrong guy. I actually, my whole career was in education.
That's my point of bringing that up to you. Yeah. And so, yes, you had things like the free and reduced lunch program. You had the summer lunch program. Yes. You had programs that were expanded so kids could actually. So I'm not arguing with you about your expertise in the private sector, but what I am saying is that a 20% cut or whack, you're cutting from Allendale Fairfax High School and Birmingham High School.
Okay.
You're cutting from places that really matter.
You want to talk about high schools in America? That's what I did for 14 years.
I also was a high school teacher.
Oh, yeah, hunger. I forgot about that thing. That's what billionaires are trying to ignore and tell you that the problem are the teachers. It's not that the kids are hungry. It's the teachers don't know how to teach hungry kids. That's the problem. These people have crazier and crazier ideas, and here's another one of them.
People don't realize and understand is every state has their own Department of Education. Mm-hmm. It's not like we're not going to have a Department of Education, but every state, I'm from the South. We have a different way of life in terms of education. We educate our kids in different curriculums. Everybody should do their own thing, but we can't regulate ourselves out of business. We don't need dictatorship from Washington, D.C. to people in Georgia or South Carolina or Montana or California. Let us teach our kids the way that we want to teach them. Let the parents be involved. Get all this bureaucracy out of the way.
There he is, Senator Tommy Tuberville of Alabama. Down here, we do things differently with our curriculum. Everyone should do their own thing. Alabama is ranked 47th in education. So we do not need to get advice from Tommy Tuberville. Please, Senator, take a seat. Here's the problem. The problem is that the Republicans have been wanting to gut the Department of Education from its inception. They didn't like the Department of Education because the Department of Education was trying to bring equity to education. One of the big roles of the Department of Education is to look out for children with needs, look out for children who need lunches, look out for children who have disabilities, look out for children who do not have the means that some children from higher demographics financially might have. So they're trying to bring equity to education. That's one of the things it does. Another thing it does is it oversees a lot of the loans that you get in higher education. So it does a lot of stuff. Now, the curriculum part of it, the truth is that a lot of local school boards get together and change the curriculums of those school districts. And a lot of states have their own regulations. We saw famously with Florida under Ron DeSantis, where they said, we don't want to teach about the slavery because it's going to make white kids feel guilty. And Florida has now implemented that. And so they're trying not to teach certain historical facts because they want their students to be living in with blinders. All right. So the truth is that the Department of Education, sure, we do need to make some cuts in all of these departments, but the way they're doing it and the way they're axing everybody is just obvious that their end goal is to get rid of the Department of Education, privatize education. What does privatizing education do? It makes the rich richer, because who's going to run these? Who's going to run these places? These Linda McMahons, these others, Elon Musks and the Peter Thiels are going to create their own schools, and they're going to run the schools for the whole country under their own curriculum. And of course, the curriculum becomes further and further conservative to the right, religious right. We've seen now that they're trying to implement in certain states the students having to recite things from the Bible as part of their curriculum. So it's a slippery slope, and we're going down it fast. I'm from a country, Iran, where I was born, where a totalitarian religious state took over. And suddenly, where before the Islamic Revolution of 1979, education was a little more diverse, suddenly the Quran became a big part of education. And so what happens is they're trying to here basically do what Iran did in 1979. They're trying to implement religious texts. They're trying to implement more conservative theories and more conservative ideology into these schools and have control over the schools. And also, by the way, when they say you have a choice for schools, they're also trying to segregate again, because they want to be able to say that, children from one neighborhood that are white can go to that school, and children that are black or Latino from another neighborhood shouldn't come to their schools. They're basically trying to resegregate. So it's a really, really insidious goal that they have, and they've been wanting to do this forever, and now they've got the power to do it, because we saw they actually chopped half of the workforce of the Department of Education. And what's going to happen is there's going to be students who need student loans in higher education who might not be able to get it because there's not enough people to help process it. There's going to be students with disabilities who aren't going to be protected because there aren't enough people watching out for them. There's going to be students that come from schools that we saw in that CNN discussion where students need lunch. Students need lunch. Some people can't afford lunch. And if you can't give them lunch, how are they going to learn? And demonizing teachers is just, again, the lowest way. It's just the lowest of lows, because teachers are people that are out there trying their hardest under the worst circumstances. They don't get paid anything. If we want to fix education in America, how about we provide teachers with higher salaries? How about we make it more enticing for teachers and people that are, have higher education, rather than going into banking to make money? What if we make it so that they can go be teachers and actually make a decent living and focus on that, rather than making our teachers buy the pencils and the notebooks and the stuff for their students? How about we do that? How about we provide students with lunches so they don't have to worry about lunches and they can spend that time studying? How about we provide students with extra tutoring? How about we provide students with more resources rather than taking away resources and privatizing it? That's what this whole game is. This whole game is the privatization of America. Pretty soon it's going to say, Tesla America. It'll be sponsored by Tesla, the way these stadiums are. There's the Doritos Bowl and all these other things that we see during the college football seasons. It's going to be Tesla's America. And Tesla, Elon Musk and Peter Thiel and all of these tech bros are going to be running the country, and all of these departments that are getting axed are going to be privatized and run by them. So really what the game is to get rid of equity. The game is to get rid of diversity. The game is to get rid of the possibility for someone who comes from a disadvantaged lifestyle to move up. Remember the American dream? The American dream was you can be whatever you want to be. But now these guys are saying, no, you can't be whatever you want to be. You can be what we decide you should be. We're going to tell you what school to go to. We're going to give you choice, but in that choice, you're going to stay in your neighborhood, and my kid's going to go in his neighborhood, and my kid's going to go on and just reap the benefits of my wealth while those other kids can just suffer. Because America now is becoming more and more cruel and less of a country that cares for its people. And that's what you voted for, folks. For those people in Alabama who voted for Trump and other red states who voted for Trump, your benefits are being taken away. Whether it's the Department of Education or Medicare, Medicaid, they're coming for you. Social Security, they're coming for you. So next time, before you vote, because they tell you that the biggest issue in America is transgender athletes, before you fall for that, just think for a second. What do these guys want to do? When people tell you there's a thing called Project 2025, which is taking away a lot of the benefits that people that need it are going to need, when people tell you that, just spend a minute reading. And that's the problem. Maybe the education is so bad that they don't read and they can't read. And that's the world that we're in. And by the way, at the other secondary school level and the universities levels, also, again, the government is cutting funding to schools that they don't agree with. So they cut funds from Columbia University because they say that, oh, you guys allowed the protest to happen against the war in Gaza. So this is a totalitarian state taking shape right in front of our eyes. They're basically dictating thought and what they want and how you can think. And before you know it, we're going to be in a Handmaid's Tale. Well, folks, that's not a great way to end, but I'm sorry, it's just the truth. I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a special on YouTube right now called The Birds and the Bees, and I'm also touring all over the country, so check me out. Check out the special. Leave a comment. Let me know you came from here, and hope to see you at a live show soon. Bye-bye.